Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review for Halloween month. And this time we'll be reviewing of the 2024 film that came out this year, Abigail, which is a vampire film. Upon its release, it did get positive reviews, has an 83% Rotten Tomatoes, did make quite a bit of money. Not big though, but it was passable to call it successful, you could say. But Abigail, it wasn't my cup of tea at all. Just be honest, it wasn't my cup of tea. I just thought it was a boring movie. I don't get the praise it gets. I mean, and plus, I see much better vampire movies, that to me are much better. I mean, the original Fright Night is much better, of course, From Dusk Till Dawn, The Lost Boys. Even one from last year, Renfield, with Nicolas Cage, I thought was a much better movie than this. Because at least Nick Cage, he was having loads of fun playing Dracula. He was just absolutely hamming it up, chewing the scenery, having fun as playing Dracula. Now, even Nicholas Hoult, I thought did a good job in that movie. Not Awkwafina, because I don't like Awkwafina. She was the biggest problem in that movie. I just wish she would just stay away from acting, never start any movies again. In fact, I'd rather drink the water Awkwafina. But other than her, though, I liked Renfield overall. Like I said, Nicolas Cage, he was fun as Dracula. Renfield, I thought, from last year, was a better movie than this. But Abigail, okay. So the premise is you have 6 criminals, and they kidnap a girl put her into this big mansion, led by this guy, for ransom for like $50 million, because the girl's father is this crime lord, so they demand a ransom. They kidnap her, bring her to this mansion, and demand $50 million. So these people have to wait till they get paid. And then the place goes into lockdown, and lo and behold, it's actually a trap. And the girl is actually, her name's Abigail. She's actually a vampire. So, basically that's the gist of it. Now, the cast, your lead is Melissa Barrera, who was the lead in Scream 5 and 6. Which I did not like her in those movies, and here I don't care for her at all either in this movie either. I don't. Didn't like her in the newer Scream movies. I don't like her in this movie either. That's one thing. But yeah, the rest of the cast members. Okay, you got Dan Stevens, who I like better, which I think I'd rather have him as the lead, and I wish he would have been the lead and survived, though. But I guess say beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I like Dan Stevens. To me, he was like the only actor I liked in the movie, but ain't saying much. And then you have the other criminals, like Melissa Barrera. She's a medic and a recovering addict. Dan Stevens, he's a former cop, did some dirty things. The other criminals, you have this guy who is a sniper, played by this guy by the name Will Catlett. Catlett. You have this girl who's a hacker, and it's played by Kathryn Newton. Kathryn Newton, who I revealed earlier this year, who just recently starred in Lisa Frankenstein as the titular character. Of course, other films I did not mind her in. I liked her in Freaky, the horror slash film version of Freaky Friday. I liked her in that film. Of course, she in the third Ant-Man movie where she played Scott Lang's daughter Cassie, and of course Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and the fourth Paranormal Activity movie. She's this hacker, and then other ones you have this guy by the name of Angus Cloud, as this guy who's a getaway driver. Now, sadly, though, I think it was before this film was released, or I forget what it was, before or after this film was released, this guy, Angus Cloud, he passed away. I think it was from drugs, I think. Young guy, though. Sad. It's sad that he passed away. It's sad, though. But I didn't care for most of these characters. I didn't. Not even for this guy named Dean that Angus Cloud plays. And he's the first to die anyway, so... Or give it away. I don't care. I mean, I'm always spoilered anyway, unless I say so. Unless for a film I don't want to spoil, though. But I'm mostly a spoiler anyway. But yeah, it sucked that he passed away. Yes, he's the first to die, though. So this guy didn't get much to do anyway. And then you have the last criminal. Is this guy Peter? Is played by Kevin Durand. Kevin Durand, which I like, you know. I mean, I remember he was in Wild Hogs. He was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He played the Blob. He was in Legion. He played the Archangel Gabriel. He's been among other stuff as well. So, yeah, Kevin Durand. You know, I don't mind him. But he's a big guy, you know, and he's kind of like dumb at times, though. Sorry, just caught me right in the middle of yawning. And then so that's these are your criminals, these characters, the 6 of them. But overall, I didn't care for any of these characters. Maybe for Dan Stevens, though, because I did get sometimes a laugh out of him, though. Maybe that's why, but it's not enough to save the movie, though. So, but I said they kidnap this girl named Abigail. They bring her to this huge mansion, and the guy they're bringing her to is played by Giancarlo Esposito. You know, starred in The Mandalorian, of course, Breaking Bad, of course, among other movies like the Maze Runner sequels, and of course he's going to be starring in the upcoming Captain America: Brave New World. Giancarlo Esposito has been along among many other movies, and especially the TV shows of Breaking Bad and recently of The Mandalorian. So he's the guy that they're bringing him to. They bring the girl to, and he says, you know, it's just a wait here. He'll get the money, but then the place goes into lockdown. They're all trapped there, and it turns out. Now, why I think most of this film was born because, like, I guess like the first. I don't say like the first hour because it's slow burn. Like I said before, there are many movies I like that are slow burn, building up, right? But the thing is, though, it gets to like the characters as well. I don't care about these characters, especially the girl Melissa Barrera. We have to take a moment because she has to establish who each of these people are. Okay, like she goes and says, "Oh, you're this person, and you're that person," basically. Exposition to know who each and every one of these people are. But it also turns out each one of these criminals are affiliated with the crime lord of the daughter they kidnapped. They're associated or affiliated with the crime lord that they basically kind of like screwed over. So that's why they're there, and so. And then with Melissa Barrera, she has a son a kid that she kind of like wants to, like, you know, be with again, you know, she has because she's an addict, she's recovering, you know, so a little bit of that, so she wants to reconnect with her kid. And then by the time when the film starts getting going, after all the exposition stuff, that's the boring exposition. Then they revealed that, you know, Abigail allowed herself to be captured on purpose because it revealed that she's a vampire. And she likes ballerina. That's why a lot we see her in the ballerina outfit doing the dances, you know. And the first one to go was that guy, Angus Cloud. Blake said the guy who passed away, sad to say. I think it was before or after this film came out. Sucked though, but didn't care about his character. He's the first to die. I think he was in the kitchen and then he gets decapitated. So they're wondering who did it. But revealed that it was Abigail. So it turns out they find out she's a vampire, and now the way to try to stop her, like crosses and garlic don't work. And even Dan Stevens got a laugh at me when he was saying, "Oh, that's not garlic, this is onions and stuff, right?" And then Kevin Durand, you know, like we heard from the trailer, you know, Abigail's chasing him, was like, "I got a vampire on my ass." Even Kevin Durand, he got a laugh out of me for that too. So, a couple of laughs, but like I said, it's not enough though. And speaking of, the funny thing is, Abigail has strength, right? She has, you know, super strength, right? Like she can hurl someone across the room one-handed. But the funny thing is, with Kevin Durand, because he's a big guy, he can hold her down, pin her down, like so, like this though. And yet, he's strong. And then he's stronger than Abigail, which he's pinned down like that. I'm like, Abigail could throw someone with one arm, but not strong enough to get off of Kevin Durand. I guess he's strong when he pins her to the ground, just like so. I don't know, but and then it's funny that even though you speak of more of the strength, she's capable of kicking down a steel door, but yet she's powerless. Doesn't have the strength to fend off Kevin Durand to get him off of her. I don't know what factor that applies to. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense though. And then the guy who Will Catlett, who's a sniper, they don't do much with him. I mean, yeah, he's a sniper. He misses though, but I think it's a waste opportunity. A guy who's a sniper though, but he gets his comeuppance as well. And so then there's 4. Kathryn Newton, she gets bit, and then his stupid thing is like, okay, if you get bit by a vampire, you know the odds they have. If you get bit, it's like when you get bit by a zombie. Are you going to turn? Are you going to turn? They're worried that she's going to turn, but they just leave her alone. They stupidly leave her alone. You know, oh, don't put her in quarantine. Don't lock her in a room. You know, you never know. If she turns, she might attack us. No, they don't do that. They just completely leave her alone. Don't tie her up or anything. That's not only it's a boring movie though, but just like some of the stupid things the characters do. Like yeah, you get bit by a vampire, so you don't know if you're gonna turn or not though. But just in case precaution, you're not gonna tie her up or lock her in another room. You know, no, you just let her wander. You just let her wander around the house willy nilly. You know, not including some chance that she may turn around and attack you. You know, no. But lo and behold, when she's walking with Kevin Durand, she attacks her. She attacks him and bites him, kills him. So, and I guess if you're bit by the vampire that bites you, you get control, because we see Abigail, you know, in her ballerina outfit doing her little dance, and I guess when we get bit by a vampire, you get control, because she's like controlling Kathryn Newton, like doing these dance moves and imitating her moves as well, you know, like this. I don't know. I'm just doing it like, I'm just imposing as we know what you're doing, like, you know, like kind of like she's being the puppet, being controlled, right? The strings, right? But the dance moves, anyway, I think the dance moves were silly anyway. I get, yeah, she's a ballerina, but the thing is, it was just silly, you know. And so, ultimately, they kill Kathryn Newton. She gets blown up. okay, like we've seen other bloody explosions before. Speaking of explosions, on vampires, from Dusk Till Dawn, we see about more than a dozen vampires get exploded. Like they get struck by sunlight from the disco ball or that band. Fuck you all, good night! Boom! From Dusk Till Dawn is miles better. I mean, more you get better likable characters, like Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Juliette Lewis, and better dialogue too, especially from George Clooney. Do you look like psychos to you? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. But or Fright Night. Even Fright Night Part 2, was better than this. Yeah, I enjoy Fright Night Part 2, And those have better characters too, like William Eastridge as Charlie Brewster, or Roddy McDowall as Peter Vincent. Chris Sarandon as Mr. Dandridge, better vampire villain. Which I did meet Chris Sarandon at the GalaxyCon. That's another video I'll have to upload, Chris Sarandon. He's a much better villain for a vampire. And so, I guess, and I guess it does, like, when, if you do die, because there is a point where even, because Giancarlo Esposito comes in and, has Dan Stevens, allows him to turn, because Giancarlo Esposito is also a vampire, and he makes Dan Stevens become a vampire, but, of course, the stupid thing on Giancarlo Esposito's part, you never know that he's gonna trick him. Oh, he made me a vampire? Well, here, now I get to kill you now. Which that's what Dan Stevens does. He does kill Giancarlo Esposito because Giancarlo Esposito was stupid. Even though he made him to a vampire, but he's not considered a thought. Oh, he may just turn around and just attack you and trick your ass. But yeah, that's what happens. Dan Stevens kills Giancarlo Esposito. And now it's Abigail and Joey, Melissa Barrera's character's name. They team up to try to stop him. But then Dan Stevens bites Melissa Barrera. But I guess if you're a new vampire, you don't know anything about being a vampire, I guess you don't control the one you bit. So you just try to control her, but it doesn't work. And I know that they always change the rules of lores of vampires in movies, I mean, it's like, when Dan Stevens, when he dies, Melissa Barrera is fine now. She's not going to become a vampire. Okay, so maybe you take on the play like in Fright Night, right? The original Fright Night, when Dandridge gets killed and Amanda Beers, she returns back to normal. So you kind of take on the play on that. Okay, since Melissa was bit by a vampire, now when that one's dead, I guess since he's the one who bit her, I guess she'll be fine now. So, but I guess it's not the main vampire though, because the main vampire is Abigail. So, but I don't know. They always change the rules of how vampires are in movies, so. You can either take the rules or leave it. And then Abigail's father comes in, who's the head vampire. He's against letting Melissa go, but Abigail vouches for her, and then she's able to leave. End of movie. So overall, Abigail, I was not a fan of. To me, I would say it did kind of suck. No pun intended. Suck. No pun intended. I just didn't care about any of these characters. I mean, Dan Stevens was the closest actor I liked the movie. I mean, him and Kevin Durand, I did get a couple of laughs out of though, but it wasn't enough though. Because I didn't care about most of these characters. I didn't care about Kathryn's character or Melissa Barrera's character. The sniper, I thought the idea of a guy who was a sniper was wasted. Oh, so funny thing is, I forgot to mention another funny thing is with vampires. I guess they managed to sedate Abigail, with a syringe to put her to sleep, right? I mean, they managed to sedate her, but instead of taking the opportunity to kill her, no, they just throw her into the steel cage, and because they ask her questions. If it was me, that was your opportunity, you sedate her, she's asleep, just go full force, stab her multiple times and stuff like that, right? Or cut her head off, or cut all of her limbs off, both her arms and legs, and I mean, how does tranquilizers work? How they use that to seduce vampires. Well, you can't also think is they did the same thing in Freddy vs. Jason. Tranquilizers is able to put Jason to sleep, but bolts don't work. How funny that is. So I guess tranquilizers can work on vampires in this case. But instead of just killing her, though, no, they decided to throw her in a steel cage so they can ask her questions, which, even if you throw her in, you think she's going to answer any of your questions or not? Actually, she's able to kick down that steel door. And I guess for some reason, she's powerless when Kevin Durand pins her to the ground, and she doesn't have the strength to move him. But like I said, she's able to kick down a steel door, she's able to throw someone across the room one-handed, but when it comes to Kevin Durand just having pinning her to the ground with both hands, she's powerless. I mean, even the Lost Boys takes on makes the vampire powerless because you invite into your house, right? So I guess when you invite a vampire into your house, they're powerless. So they try to do the garlic and the mirror, which that was funny though, but but she's powerless if someone pins her to the ground, though. So that was one thing I want to mention. The whole sedating her was okay, tranquilizers work, okay. But overall, yeah, I just didn't care about the characters. I thought it was boring and slow. I mean, her doing her silly dance ballerina moves. I mean, maybe that was the point, because she likes to play with it. She does that because she likes to play with her food, But I mean, a lot of these actors are wasted. I mean, Kevin Durand I thought was wasted. Dan Stevens, Kathryn Noon I thought was wasted. Giancarlo Esposito is a good actor, but he's also wasted too. I just don't get the 83% Rotten Tomatoes. I just don't get that. But yeah, it is a slow burn, but I think there were much movies I thought were better though. And like I said, majority of the first hour was boring. I mean, and there's even one where he has to stop and take a breath because we have the lead girl has to take the time to explain each of one of these people who they are, what they have done, But what do I know? I mean, so Abigail overall from that came out this year, I didn't like the film. I didn't. Like I said, there was much better vampire movies I've seen. Even Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s that Francis Ford Coppola directed, I thought was better than this. I mean, I didn't mind the movie though, but I wasn't big on it though, but I didn't mind it. But so I thought it was better than this. Like I said, The Lost Boys, Friday Night Part 1, Part 2 are better, From Dusk Till Dawn. Like I said, Renfield from last year was better than this. Part of me wishes it was Dan Stevens who was the lead and not Melissa Barrera. So I don't care for her. I didn't like her in the new Scream movies. I didn't care for her in this movie either. I wish it was Dan Stevens who was the lead, and I wish he's the one who got out and lived. But like I said, beggars can't be choosers, so. So yeah, so Abigail wasn't my movie at all. To me, it sucked. So, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you more for Halloween month, and see you on the next review. Later.